We're here today. I am Samantha Meeks, the coordinator of graduate recruitment here at Arkansas Tech, and I have with me Dr. Kelly Houston Jones. She's the graduate program director for our Master's in History. So this is a master's that you can take online or in person. You can complete it completely online if you want to. So Dr. Jones, I'm going to let you take the floor and just tell us a little bit about your master's degree.
Sure. It is a 30-hour degree, so you can complete it within 2 years if you keep up the pace on the course load. Most of our students are actually already employed. Well, I should say over half at this point are already employed, and so they are unlikely to take a full load every semester because of their work obligations. And so it's not unusual, to take longer than 2 years. So y'all don't worry about that if you're considering this program. And yeah, we're really proud of our flexible delivery. You can take classes with us asynchronously online, which is sort of that traditional kind of folders are opening on certain dates and you're completing tasks type of online course. We've also got synchronous video conferencing courses. So you'll meet with your classmates and the professor one night a week for kind of a long discussion type meeting, sort of check-in depending on the type of class. And then we've also got classes that are sort of like a blend of both of those things.
Okay.
Often we'll have students meeting, the ones who are local, meeting here in Witherspoon in our high flex room. And so they may be sitting and talking to a couple of classmates with their professor on a given weeknight, and then have 4 or 5 colleagues out in far-flung areas of Arkansas tuning in and participating. So we've got a pretty good mix of delivery options, and we're really excited about our ability to meet the needs of folks who are coming at this program from a lot of different backgrounds and with a lot of different goals.
So in your program, you have different focus areas, correct? So you have like American history and European history, is that correct?
Right now, the focus choices are American history or world history.
World
So we've
history.
tried
Okay.
to kind of mirror how secondary ed teachers will often experience their work division a lot of times. So say you might be teaching AP US history or AP world. So we've kind of tried to just kind of split it down the middle and give people those 2 tracks. But one great thing, for folks to keep in mind is that, say I chose American history as my primary area, I've still got 9 hours I can spend in other types of coursework, so it doesn't have to come at the expense of sort of a well-rounded degree program.
So those students that want to maybe teach at a post-secondary level, you actually have an option for that too, right? We have a certificate option.
Right. And actually, that's where a lot of the momentum is right now for us. Are teachers who want to be able to teach concurrent courses are coming to our program. Certainly, folks who want to teach at the community college level are benefiting from the program, because when you finish with us, you're able to go in and teach college level courses, 1,000, 2,000 level courses in history, whether they be world or American history, after you complete the program with us. And actually, this is something that's not unique to Arkansas, but the 18-hour certificate that we offer, and you can snag that automatically as you get towards the full master's degree, that certificate of 18 hours allows you to go ahead and pick up concurrent courses if you're already in the secondary ed classroom, or to go ahead and get started on your community college teaching career. So that's kind of a nice little more than midway pickup that you can get if you want to do the full master's.
And what that means basically is that when they would graduate with the master's, they'd actually be getting 2 credentials at once, which, I mean, 2 for the price of 1, that's always great, right?
It's pretty great, yeah.
And then speaking of jump starting and saving money, you guys have an AB2M pathway as well. So AB2M is our accelerated bachelor's to master's programs here at Tech. And the history program has one of these. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The accelerated bachelor's to master's program allows you as a history undergraduate to take graduate courses in the history graduate program for the undergrad price, which is no small thing,
Yeah.
and substitute those for upper level credits for that bachelor's degree. Then that also you get to double dip and use those to get a start on the master's degree. So it allows you to get kind of a twofer, on those. And it's an exciting program that we've had for a couple of years, but I think it's just now starting to pick up steam as people understand the benefits, of being able to get really what you're getting is a head start on the master's degree here at Tech. You can pick up and you can keep on going, or you can come back in a couple of years and pick up with that credit already under your belt.
How many hours can they get during that program as undergraduates?
I think technically they can get 12. For most of our students, that would be logistically sort of difficult, just the number of classes we offer and the nature of the degree plan for most of the undergrads. Usually it's 6 hours. Usually the ones who've done it with us, they're leaving with 6 hours of grad credit, which is, for a lot of people, that's a whole semester of grad school done already.
Right. And, if they take them as undergrad and they're receiving any kind of financial assistance, not only if they're self-paying, they would pay at the undergrad rate, but if they're receiving financial assistance that covers their undergraduate classes, it would also cover these because it's counting for both.
Right.
So financial aid is going to see it as an undergrad class, and you're going to get to count it twice.
Isn't it great? I mean, I hope nobody figures it out. It's almost like, are we stealing? Are we, I think it's like when you find such a great deal at a store and you're like, what? Do they know what they're doing here? Man, it's a great deal.
So we do know, and we're super glad, and we hope everyone does it. Okay, well, so when you're thinking about your history program, you've already told us some really kind of unique things as far as delivery methods, but what do you think makes your history program the most unique as a history program?
I think that I'm going to reiterate the delivery options. I don't know that anyone else in the state, at least right now, is offering that type of flexibility that we're offering. I also suspect that our flexibility in that sort of secondary area column could be something that has us standing out. So what I mean is, say I'm a student and I've chosen the world history focus. Well, I've got 9 hours that can either go to U.S. history courses, but say I want to go into the museum world or public history, some type of public history. I could take a grad level course that could help me in nonprofit management, for example.
Absolutely.
And plug it into that other column.
Right.
We've had students who get internships at historic sites, and that internship for credit goes right into that column. I think one of the more common things for us recently is for students to take grad level courses in instructional design, so to prep them for teaching online, and then they can plug that right in there. So I'm not sure that everyone has their degree set up in a way that you've got that wiggle room on that sort of other area. So you've got your primary area, and then you've got this other column, and we really try to work with folks on what's gonna fit in order that you can make a really great case when you finish the program for whatever your career goals or your professional goals are after that.
Right, because
Sorry,
no, you're good. I think one of the goals of this program really is it's very career oriented. Like, it's what they want to be able to do when they're done, whether that be secondary, post-secondary, like you said, public history. So that internship, especially, that can allow that.
Oh, for sure. And I think that the second, sort of big thing that really sets us apart is the ability for students to complete the program with their major assessment at the end being either a thesis or a portfolio. So the sort of traditional way to do this, most master's programs in history that you find will have the sort of culminating project at the end of the degree is either a thesis, which people think of as being that kind of traditional academic track. Maybe I want to go on to a PhD in American history or world history. Or if you don't choose that, oftentimes you're looking at an exam. Well, an exam is well and good, but you don't walk away with anything in hand that you can
Right.
show, showcase your skills and your knowledge. So for us, the thesis or portfolio option allows us to really make sure we're meeting everybody's needs for whatever their next step is. Everybody walks away with something in hand that they have defended to um, colleagues in the field, and then they can take and build on no matter what that next step is. And so that's something that we're really proud of too.
Well, speaking of colleagues, you're just setting up all my segues for me here. Can you tell us a little bit about the faculty that they would be working with in your program?
Sure, we've got faculty who are accessible, who are cutting edge in their methods in the classroom. And again, back to those like delivery options, to say that you can get the master's degree in history completely online at Arkansas Tech University is not to say that you are alone on a laptop for 2 years, just kind of working through busy work, right? And so our faculty, they know how to teach online, they know how to teach these sort of like blended classes. And they're practitioners of the field. Our scholarly record, we would hold it up against anybody's on Arkansas Tech's campus, and in a lot of other history departments in the state and region as well. We're active practitioners of our discipline, and so that makes us good teachers of how to be a historian, how to be a history educator. So yeah, so thanks for letting me brag on us.
Well, yeah, and shameless plug, Dr. Jones has actually done a webinar for us about networking in your field. So you can always visit the grad college website and see her talking about that too. I'm just going to plug that in there.
Right. Yes. Networking. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so my last question kind of about the history program, and then we can talk about grad school in general a little bit more. Um, what do you think is the most interesting class that you've ever gotten to teach for history graduate students?
I think, okay, so I've got two in mind, if I can pick two.
Okay, pick two.
And I think that one really interesting one, as far as like the very structured kind of like traditional like history topics, um, for me recently has been a class that we ran, I guess it was maybe a year ago or so, called The American Civil War as a Global Conflict. So it really opened the students' eyes to seeing American history differently. Who doesn't love talking about the Civil War, right? And so we were able to stretch that, past these boundaries, and it was a really eye-opening experience for a lot of folks. So that's been a really fun one recently. But as far as like something that's kind of a little bit out of the box, there's a course that I'm doing right now with a group of graduate students, and we're researching a local African American cemetery. It's very old. And we're doing a really interdisciplinary sort of project. We've got drone footage of the cemetery. We're learning about GIS. We're learning about census records. We're learning about the physical preservation of the stones. We're learning about grant writing, and I'm learning this with them. Like I've kind of treated the course as a little bit like a project with, say, if you were a nonprofit that received a grant for a particular project, and you've got to get organized, and who's going to work on this, and how are we going to report back in a way that helps us not only remember kind of where we've been and what we've done, but that helps us to apply for support in the future. So that's been a super fun one recently. And I mean, I could go on and on. We've got the ability in our department to pull knowledge from really closely related fields. So in the coming semester, we've got Dr. Mike Rogers, a political scientist, who's going to teach a course about founding era debates. Rolling up your sleeves and getting into those founding documents, and like, what did people argue about, right,
Yeah.
in our founding era, and what did it look like when they're duking it out on all of these really essential ideas about government and society. So I mean, what's not to love about that?
Right. Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, well, I mean, we can move into talking about the grad school in just a little bit more general terms too. Now, if you're interested in Dr. Jones's program or any of our programs, the first step is to apply. Okay, so do your exploration, look at the programs you want. And then the first step is to apply. So you can do that at our website, atu.edu/gradcollege. There's an official application that you fill out, and then it goes through all the inner workings that we know all documents go through. And then we'll get back to you. We're going to request things like your transcripts. We're going to request things like if you have a teaching license, we would want to see that for certain programs. So really easy starting point. And for those of you who are current undergrad students here at Tech that are listening to this and that AB2M program sounded great, but maybe you're not a history major, we have those in other programs too. So we have an official application for that, same place. You would go to grad college, atu.edu/gradcollege, so you can apply for that too. So Dr. Jones talked a little bit about, having some leeway in, getting to have that other column and getting people to be able to look kind of outside of the box, outside of their majors. But there's also some other programs that draw heavily on this kind of area that students might want to pursue in our grad college. So I can talk a little bit about it, and then you can also talk a little bit about how you think those programs would fit in well. You already mentioned the online teaching component, and we have a really good online teaching certificate program here at Tech, as well as an instructional design program. So that's always an option for students that are looking for that. And then our Master of Liberal Arts program. This is where you could take classes in programs like Dr. Jones's, as well as things like English, communications, any of the liberal arts on campus. And you get to kind of build your own degree from 3 different focus areas. So that's always fun. I know you have some students like that in some of your upper level courses. And then, of course, the teaching licensure option as well. Can you tell us a little bit about how some of your, maybe your undergrads or some of your history related students have kind of moved into the teaching licensure pathway?
Right. Yes. I'm glad you mentioned those options because a lot of times we have folks who they'll go through the bachelor's degree in history, but maybe that's not their academic home for the next step. So for the MLA, you could take history classes, but you kind of get to have it all because you can dip into other areas as well, as you said. The online teaching is a good choice for folks who want to go that direction. And the MAT has also been a common one for students who finish the bachelor's degree with us and then they go on to do that program. I've also had students complete the master's in history with us and then do the MAT program and just really going out into the job market with sort of like 2 really great tools to sort of set them apart from other applicants. So we're a pretty good match for a lot of different avenues that people want to take. And I probably haven't talked enough about the history academic, side of this. We do
Right.
send students to PhD programs. We've got one who she should be graduating soon, actually, from University of Mississippi. Now that I think about it, we need to check in with her. We send students to PhD programs. We have had students get accepted to PhD programs and then choose something else. But just being able to open that door, for them or help them get to that is great. And we have many students who will do the master's in history with us and then go on to law school. That's a pretty typical one
Okay.
as well. So sometimes the next step for an undergrad history major is with us or with something adjacent. Sometimes that third step is with us or with something adjacent. So
Right.
there's a lot, it's a choose your own adventure. There's a lot of different options out there.
Yes. And, thinking about going on to these programs that may be PhD level or maybe another master's or whatever that looks like, one of the great things that you can think about in getting a master's at Tech before you move to that next step is financial cost. So our tuition is currently one of the top competitive rates in the state. I think we come in at second. I don't remember that quote exactly, but we come in very near the top in the level of our graduate tuition, how competitive that is. So right now we're at $314.50 per credit hour. And so that brings us in very low in-state, but it also brings us in very, very low for out-of-state and international students who are wanting to study this as well. So out-of-state and international students receive the same graduate tuition rate as in-state students. They're not going to pay extra in tuition because they're from out of state. And since you can take this online, that also means that they're not having to move if they don't wish to. And it also, since there is an in-person component to this, this also makes it eligible for international students to move here if they wish to seek a visa in that for that. So lots of options, lots of really well-priced options that you can think about and get a really quality education at a price that that can work for you before you go on to your next step in your academic career. Well, that's all I have, Dr. Jones. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us about the history program and just about grad school and what that can look like for students as they go into their next step.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.